Today we have a different type of power project going on today, and I do this every single year on this same exact day, December 14th, and I do it in honor of the life that my brother Maddog Mike Bell lived. This is not going to be a somber sob story for those of you who are trying to opt out right now. Although there may be a period in time where I get a little choked up because I am talking about my bro, and I do miss him very much. As many of you know, my brother died December 14th, 2008. He died in Costa Mesa, California. He passed away in a rehabilitation center of some sorts, a rehab house of some sorts. And the only thing I can really do in a situation like this is share with you guys the things that I would suggest the things that I would suggest that you do if you have a loved one pass away. And also, some things I'm going to share with you are going to be about loved ones you may have, people that are close to you, friends that you may have or know that struggle with life. Maybe they have an addiction. Maybe they're bipolar. My brother was bipolar and he had addictions. These things are very complicated and they're very hard to figure out, and somehow they also taint the memories that you have of the person. So it's complicated. Those of you that understand addiction, those of you who've been around it, can have some empathy towards it. Those of you that have not been around it can't understand it. It's a hard thing to really grasp. Somebody that has an addiction, the things that they will do, the lies that they'll tell, the life that they will live, it is a very complicated life, and it's a life that is very difficult to be anywhere near. And I like to try to remember more positive things about my brother, and but I will say this. One of the things that helped me the most in dealing with someone who's bipolar and someone who was an addict was my wife, Andy. As many of you know, my wife, Andy, has helped me out of just about everything that you can think of. And one day we'll do a story about her here on the Power Project so you guys can understand how truly special this woman is. But, in dealing with my brother, my wife said I was upset many times over, shed many tears over conversations with my brother, trying to figure out, what it was he wanted or what it was he was trying to do. And he hurt me often. And those of you, again, that deal with addiction know the pain that I'm talking about, the letdown that you experience. But what Andy told me was, she said, stop trying to apply rational thought to somebody who is irrational. And from that moment on, that really helped me, because my brother wasn't thinking clearly. My brother was gone. He was no longer with us, even when he was here, to a certain degree. And so once I was able to let go of that, I was able to live a much more comfortable life myself, and it opened up my relationship with my brother a lot better, because things started to become more clear. And things that he would say on the phone or in person, I can apply what my wife said to what he was saying, and realize that he didn't know, he may not have always known what he was talking about necessarily. Or he had these great intentions, these great ideas, these great aspirations to do these great things, but he unfortunately couldn't make them happen. Couldn't pull himself together enough. On a more positive note, learning from that experience, that's what I suggest some of you guys do out there. Some of you guys that are dealing with addicts, whether it's your mom, your brother, your sister, whoever it is in your family, start to apply that to them. If they're not being rational, you don't have to be an asshole to them. You just have to understand that their thoughts are going to be irrational, and the things that they're talking about executing and doing, they are probably never going to do, which is very common amongst people that aren't even addicts. But the other thing that I suggest doing is to try to, this goes for anybody, this is regardless of whether someone's an addict or bipolar or otherwise. Any of you that have lost somebody, anyone who has lost someone close to them and dear to their heart, whenever something like that happens, I'm going to suggest two things to you. I am no doctor and I'm no expert, but I've been through it. I've had many friends die, and my own brother passing away was a tragic thing for me to go through. It was very difficult, and it's something I still, it still doesn't rest well with me. I still have my brother saved in my phone. I'd still love to be able to give my brother a phone call and talk about irrational. That's an irrational thought from me, but I miss the motherfucker. I want to call him up. Whenever I watch wrestling, I'm thinking, man, how cool would it be right now to reach out to my big bro? I know how much he loves wrestling, and so whenever I watch that, I end up thinking about him. He was my tag team partner. We were Hell's Bells, and we were going to dominate the world together. Anyway, I knew I would get choked up talking about this because it's not an easy thing to do. I'm going to let this pass. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm good, I think, for at least a minute. All you can do is learn from your experiences. So those of you that are dealing with the death of somebody, rule number one. Rule number one is get yourself out of compromised situations. Make sure that you're not going to drink and do anything stupid. Make sure that you're not going to do something that you regret. And this is 1A and 1B, I guess. Get around some good people. Get around some people that you love and that you care about, and that care about you, that genuinely care about you as a person. Get around those people and get around them fast, because you don't know what the fuck you're going to do in a bad situation like that when someone passes away. Could be your dad, could be your mom, could be your brother. God forbid, it could be your child. It's a fucking nasty world out there. Death is a part of life, and we got to figure out ways of dealing with it. That's why I'm sharing this shit with you right now. The other thing that I want you guys to do, and that I want you to absorb, again, this is regardless of whether somebody is an addict. It's just if you lost somebody, lost someone you cared about. Think about the good characteristics that they had. Think about some of the characteristics they had that made them unique, that made them them. Maddog. The thing that made Maddog was that he was a mad dog. The thing that made him unique is that he wasn't about to take shit from anybody. And the littlest thing could set him off. He had aggression, and he in some cases demonstrated some violence as a result of that aggression. I'm not a fan of violence, however, I am a fan of aggression. Violence is when you want to hurt somebody. Aggression is just when you want to put the pedal to the metal and you want to show people what the fuck is up, and that you're not going to take any crap from anybody, and you're going to keep plowing forward no matter what, and you're going to be assertive. So aggression I'm a fan of. So I have taken Maddog's aggression. I have taken some of those attributes from him. Maddog was not somebody who was going to give up. Physically or mentally, he was very tough. He was kind of known as our town badass, and that's not something I can take from him, but because I'm not a badass in that same way. but some of his aggressiveness, some of his unwillingness to allow people to fucking walk all over him like he's a carpet, those are things that I have taken pride in for myself. I don't allow people to do that anymore. And you know what else? I'm not afraid to tell people no. People ask me something, I'm not afraid to fucking flat out tell them no. I'm not afraid to flat out tell people that I disagree with something that they said. Because I'm trying to take some of the characteristics of my brother and I'm trying to pay it forward so that he lives for at least as long as I live, and maybe that somehow carries on some of his traditions, some of the things that he loved, and some of the things that I loved about him, and some of the things that other people around him loved about him. Maddog also was not afraid. He wrestled in front of thousands of people. He had the opportunity to be in the WWE for several years. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid of conflict. He wasn't afraid of a fight. He was not afraid to wrestle in front of tens of thousands of people. He wasn't afraid to wrestle on TV in front of thousands and millions of people in some respects. He was not afraid. He wasn't a fearful person. And that has been a very hard attribute to try to take on for me, because I'm fucking scared of everything in some ways or another. I'm even scared to get on a motherfucking airplane. So that has not been easy, but that has been another attribute that I try to take on. I also try to learn from his mistakes. Maddog once told me, he said, you know what? If I have to take bullets for you to be great, then that's what maybe I was designed to do. And I don't know how much I necessarily believe that. However, I did learn from his mistakes. I saw them firsthand, and I realized that's not the same life that I want to live, and that I want to try to have my life be smoother and be easier. Keep in mind, you know, Maddog did have choices. However, again, let's be sensitive to the fact that if you're an addict, that you lost control. You lost control and you lost yourself. And if you watch Bigger, Stronger, Faster, those of you that are fans of that, I recommend you guys go out and watch that right now. It's the 8th year that he's been gone, and to celebrate his life, go back and watch that film. Some of it will be sad to you, knowing that he's gone. But he talks about losing his life. He talks about it in Bigger, Stronger, Faster. We always known it was a possibility. But I never wanted to get that phone call from my dad on Sunday, December 14th, 2008. I never wanted to get that phone call from him and hear my mom in the background screaming. I don't wish that upon anybody. And I wish nothing more than to have my brother here right now, right by my side. But he's not here. He's passed on. He's dead. He's gone. Death is a part of life. It's a very real part of life. And for me to wish that he's here, for me to wish that he was here right now, is actually just being selfish. Because I believe my brother lived the life that he was supposed to live. I believe that that was a plan laid out by God or somebody else or whatever. I don't want to get religious. But I believe that he lived the life he was supposed to live. He got a chance to love somebody. Somebody else loved him back. He was married. Luckily, he didn't end up having any children, because that would be tragic for them to be involved in his death and everything like that. But he did have the opportunity to love. He had the opportunity to be loved back. What more can you ask for? What more can you ask for than that? And he also had the opportunity to do a lot of things that he wanted to do with the WWE. His life would be very compromised if he was here now. That's why I say it would be difficult. He would have a difficult life if he was here. And every day was a struggle for him. Being bipolar and being addicted to drugs. Every day was a struggle. Even if he sobered himself up. Even if he sobered himself up, he'd still have, I don't even know how to explain it. He just, in some way, he was a tortured soul in some ways. But he was also somebody who When I say he's not afraid, he wasn't afraid to make an ass out of himself. I remember one time in my friend's garage, it was like Christmas Day or Thanksgiving or something. It might have been Christmas Day. We're in my friend's garage and we're squatting. And my brother just decides to squat 500 pounds for a few reps. My brother is very strong. He wasn't a power lifter, but he did some power lifting, and he was fucking strong. And he was always a good squatter, had big old quads. He was a fullback in high school at 240 pounds and fucking ran over everybody. It was a beautiful thing to watch, especially with just how big he was in high school versus how big the other kids were at the time. But so he's squatting. He works up to 5 plates, and he's like, I just want to rep this out. He goes, but man, it's getting hot in here. And it's not hot because we're in my friend's garage. It's fucking cold. It's the winter, but it is in California, so it's not that cold. Anyway, Maddog takes his pants off and goes to the squat rack and squats in the biggest pair of underwear I think I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea where he even got these things. They were purple to make matters even worse. And then he proceeded to squat 500 pounds for multiple reps. I can't remember how many reps. I don't want to make it a mythological thing that he did 27 reps or something like that. But I remember he repped it out pretty good. And that was just the way he was. He wasn't afraid to do stuff like that. He wasn't afraid to laugh. There's times, where I feel like I'm so concentrated on stuff that I don't even fucking laugh. I don't even have a second to enjoy it sometimes because I'm trying to think of the next thing. And what kind of life is that to live? That's not a great way to go through life. So I try to learn. I try to learn from some of his mistakes, and I try to learn from some of the things he did right. Maddog Mike Bell is no longer here, but he will always be my brother. He will always be my big brother. He'll always be somebody I look up to, if indeed he is up there. Who knows which direction he may have gone in. But he's somebody I'll always look up to. He's somebody I'll always admire. And big bro, got a message for you. I love you and I miss you very much. Mwah. Later.